In this lesson, we're going to talk about a relatively practical way to use Midjourney to create hero shots of branding and also potentially landing pages and just content in general for websites and possibly even social media. This is really just showing you some of the potentials that I want you to run with and turn into your own ideas. So let's start with the first thing that we mentioned. So imagine, and let's say I had a backpack company, but I didn't have the content I needed to build out my website. I could say a award-winning photography of a black leather backpack in the style of product photography. So we might not need award-winning photography and in the style of product photography. So why don't we go ahead and delete this first part so that we're more specific. Black leather backpack in the style of product photography. And because this specific aesthetic uses flash, when you think of a real photo shoot, we want to think of other ways to make Midjourney and have Midjourney turn this into what we're looking for. We don't want it to be abstract. We don't want this to be super creative and too far out there. We want it to look like a real photo shoot. So we're going to type in things like 3-point lighting, which is what professional photographers use. We're going to type in highly detailed, photorealistic, and solid colored backdrop. And let's even get more detailed. Let's say that the branding for our brand is red. So we're going to say solid red colored backdrop. And now that we have the main part of our prompt and we want this to look realistic, we're going to add one of our final parameters, which is going to be our test P model. Let's go ahead and hit enter and see what we come up with. And while this is loading, let's go ahead and now create a potential landing page for our product. So create a website for a backpack brand. UI and UX, that's just telling Midjourney that I want this to resemble what a website would look like. So user experience and user interface is what those stand for. So just really getting specific here. And we'll say some other terms, so white, red, and add the term landing page, which is where you would put your product on your website. And this is a pretty realistic looking set of photos. So let's go ahead and up-res the first one and the second one. Perfect. And it looks like it put together some pretty cool images of what our site would look like. So this can be a jumping off point for coming up with the design. You can use these as a placeholder for your website or your product or whatever you're selling online. And in a different chapter, we'll also talk about how you can remove the text on images like this so it just has the assets that you want.